Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, and welcome to the United Stand. I'm live with Fabrizio Romano. How you doing, Fabrizio?
Hello, my friend. I'm fine. Thank you. Hello to the guys sending messages, and always big pleasure to be together.
Good. Lots to talk about. Obviously, you spoke to Beth last week, so I've got some stuff saved up, which is great. But I want to start off with a news story that came out this morning from the Manchester Evening News. They're saying that Manchester United's priority is a midfielder over a right back. What can you tell us about United's sort of transfer activity with 3 weeks to go in relation to players that might be coming in? Is there anything going on that you've heard?
Yes, I will keep an eye on these two positions, as you said, on the right back and on the midfielder. The big difference is now with the right back. They are really happy with Diogo Dalot, with his pre-season, because he's doing quite well. He scored a goal in the last one, so he's really training so well. And do you remember I told you many times about Diogo and his good impact on the team with Ole? He's been great this season, last season with AC Milan and with Portugal in under 21, and then with the main national team at the Euro. So he's always been great, and also he's been so professional, and that's why now Manchester United are considering to keep Diogo Dalot, or they are only accepting bids for around 4 or 5 million euro loan fee. AC Milan were not offering this money. They were offering around 1.5 million euro loan fee. And at these conditions, Manchester United are not accepting the proposal. So now AC Milan are talking also with Roma for Florenzi. So it's not only Dalot, but also Florenzi's option for AC Milan. And that's why I will keep an eye on the possibility of Dalot staying at the club. I'm told that also other clubs are interested in him. So it's still an open situation, but there are options and chances for him to stay at Manchester United. And maybe it could change the situation of Trippier, because as we always said, if Dalot stays, Trippier is not coming to Manchester United. So let's see what happens with other clubs in the coming days. But the situation is really fluid, it's open. So I'm curious to see on this point what's going to happen. And also for the midfielder is nothing like imminent. I think it will take some days.
Yeah, just sticking with the right back for a moment. We've spoken before. I mean, you're a big fan of Dalot. I like Dalot. There's a lot of people in our chat who like Dalot. I suppose the big threat is Trippier. What is the latest with him? Because we heard over the weekend that Atletico Madrid don't need to sell. They want, over 25 million. Arsenal have been linked to him now. Is there any sort of movement on that, or is that an end of window scenario that it might move, do you think?
I think it's a complicated one, because I've always been told from Atletico Madrid that the player has been so professional that they wanted 40 million euro in June for Trippier. Then you know better than me that in the market, things change so fast. So sometimes you're asking for 40, and maybe later in the window at the end of August, it can become around 30, 35, something like this. But at the moment, from Atletico Madrid, they still say they don't need money and they want to keep Trippier. So if someone wants Trippier, if Manchester United want Trippier, they have to bid with an important proposal. So at the moment, the situation is still a bit quiet. And also about the player, because many times I heard rumors about the player desperate to join Manchester United to come back to England. It's true that he would be happy to join Manchester United to come back to England. He has the same agency of Rafael Varane, so also the relationship with Manchester United is so good. But I'm told that he's not desperate to leave Atletico Madrid. He's happy with Simeone. His relationship with the manager is so good. So it's something really open at this point. And if Manchester United will agree on the fee with Atletico Madrid, Trippier will 100% sign with Manchester United and won't refuse Manchester United. But it's not something so advanced yet, because Atletico Madrid are not desperate to sell him. That's it.
I think there's a lot of Manchester United fans that are hoping that he stays in Atletico Madrid and we keep Dalot, but we'll have to wait and see. He's a good player. On the midfield, you said to me there it's very quiet at the moment. I did see over the weekend the Rennes, I think it was director of football, saying that they're not going to let him run his contract down. He either signs a new contract or he goes, which is a bit different to the Pogba situation, which we'll talk about in a minute. I saw something, I think it was Foot Mercato this morning, talking about PSG and Camavinga. What's the scenario with Camavinga, in your opinion? Because it doesn't seem like Rennes are just going to let him run his contract down, and we're only 3 weeks to the end of the window.
He's not going to extend this contract with Rennes, so that's why the player is not in a rush. As we always say, also here, he's not in a rush because Camavinga knows that if someone is paying 40 million euros, something like this, to Rennes this summer, he will be leaving the club. But he wants to be 100% convinced about the project of this club, because he has the opportunity to wait for 6 months and then from January signing for the next season with another club as free agent. So that's why he's not in a rush. He wants to understand who really wants Camavinga, with what kind of project, if he's a starter or not. So I see the reports about Paris Saint-Germain, and it's true that Paris Saint-Germain have an interest in Camavinga. I would say Manchester United and Paris Saint-Germain for this summer want Camavinga, but they are still waiting to see what happens on Manchester United side with Pogba, and on Paris Saint-Germain side, now they are busy with Messi, so they are not doing any deal in the coming days because now they are really 100% focused on Messi. But talking about Camavinga, I think that it won't be easy also because this summer the timing will be a bit different. I don't expect something to happen in the coming days, but maybe it will be something later in the window, and it depends on Pogba for Manchester United. Of course, if the situation will go to next summer, as we always say, he will be a free agent, and many clubs will join the race. This summer is Paris Saint-Germain and Manchester United. Next summer will be Manchester United, Paris Saint-Germain, maybe other English clubs, for sure Real Madrid and Barcelona. Keep an eye also on Bayern Munich because they wanted him 6 months ago. So it's an open race for Camavinga as free agent, but let's see what happens this summer.
It sounds like if Manchester United want him, this summer is the one to go and get him. But you've said to us before that do you think if Pogba stays now, which I'll ask you about Pogba in a minute, but if Manchester, well, I'll phrase it in a different way. If United don't sell a midfielder, do you think they'll still buy him? Do you still think they'll buy Camavinga if all our midfielders stay, or do you think they have to sell one before they buy one?
I think they need to sell one player in this position. If they want to sign Camavinga or any other midfielder, if it will be Ruben Neves or I don't know, they need to sell one player in this position. Because it's not just need; it's they want to be 100% sure that they want players happy at the club with the right game time for every player. So that's why they're planning for this only in case someone will leave. We will see if Pogba, if will happen something for Matic, if for any other player. But at the moment, they are thinking like this. They had the two big targets they had, and they've been really fast and really good, in my personal opinion, with Varane and Sancho. But now it's time also for the outgoings to see what happens also with Lingard by the money point of view, because it's also important to sell players in this window.
Yes, and in relation to outgoings, Messi's going to PSG. Does that stop Pogba leaving this summer because we don't think anyone else can afford him other than PSG? Or do you think PSG still could go for Pogba as well?
I'll never go with 100% with PSG because they can do everything in the market. But as of now, I can repeat what I always said here. You remember, you told me many times from France, they're saying that Pogba is close to PSG, Pogba is going to PSG. I've always been told that there are huge chances for Pogba to stay at Manchester United this summer in the strategy of the club and also in the strategy of the player. Like staying here, of course, the interest of Paris Saint-Germain is real because they're interested in the player, but never made an official bid to United, never been in advanced talks with Nora, like saying, okay, let's do the deal this summer. So they have an interest and it's normal. French player, top player, so it's something absolutely normal, and they are looking for something for the midfield. But then I don't see them like pushing again after signing Leo Messi also for Paul Pogba. So let's see what happens in the coming days. I think the two situations are not linked, but I don't see like Paris Saint-Germain after signing Messi going also for Paul Pogba. It's also about financial fair play and this kind of thing. So it would be difficult maybe this summer, but next summer, if Pogba will not sign a new contract with Manchester United, Paris Saint-Germain will be in the race for sure.
Yeah, and I think that Pogba situation where he's free next summer with the world at his feet to choose wherever he wants to go is probably most likely at the moment. We've mentioned Matic a little bit. He played really well for Manchester United against Everton at the weekend. Anything around any other midfielders that we've got? Because it doesn't look like anyone's actually going to go at this moment, but so I don't know whether you've heard anything around Matic or anyone else.
Oh, the moment with Matic is still, I'm told that he's still quiet. That the player's been, as you say, he's playing good and it's also been the top professional in training this summer. So they're happy with him. They're happy with him at the moment. And I heard a lot of rumors about Roma, and many times because of your link, I'm told there is nothing with Roma. Roma are looking for different players as of now. So that's why the situation of Matic is still quiet. Let's see, maybe at the end of the window, if something could change. Also with other Italian clubs looking for midfielders, maybe it could be an opportunity. But as of now, it's still a quiet situation for him. So I think it will take some time to clarify Matic's situation.
And we're going to talk about a few other things, but just while I'm thinking about outgoings, we were talking about this on the weekend on the show. A story came up about Anthony Martial and Inter Milan. Lukaku imminently going to be, well, you said it yesterday, Lukaku to Chelsea. It just needs to be announced officially now. Any truth in this news involving Anthony Martial potentially leaving very late in the window for United to even try and replace Martial? We don't have that many strikers. Anything you've heard around Martial?
Nothing imminent. I'm told links with Inter. I'm told from Inter that is not their first option or something advanced or something they started with the agent of with Manchester United. This is Inter position of Martial. Then I can't say no because Inter are going on 10 different players now because they're negotiating for Duvan Zapata, for Dzeko, they're negotiating for Correa from Lazio, many players. So that's why maybe tomorrow morning they change their mind and they go Martial. But as of now, they have nothing with Manchester United on Martial and they are looking on different players. So for him, we had rumors also about Tottenham, but were not true. I'm told that Tottenham are looking at different players. Same for Real Madrid, links fake. There is nothing and there was nothing. So that's why I think it's something that maybe could happen at the end of the window. Why not? But it's something that is not advanced now or imminent now. So at the moment, Martial is staying at Manchester United.
Somebody said to me this morning, I wouldn't be surprised if Manchester United sold Anthony Martial and then tried to buy Harry Kane. What? I laughed as well. But is Harry Kane? Is Harry Kane? The reason I ask about Harry Kane is because if he doesn't leave Spurs, there might be a chance for United next summer. Is Harry Kane still looking like he's going to Man City, or has that gone quiet?
First of all, if Kane leaves this summer, is to go to Man City, just to clarify. So it's only Manchester City for Kane this summer. Maybe next summer, the situation with strikers will be completely different because we have Haaland on the market with the clause. We will have Kane eventually if he stays at Tottenham. So it will be an open situation with many strikers involved in the market. So would be interesting. And as you said, also for Cavani, I think this could be maybe his final season at Manchester United. So he will decide with his family as he did this year. So we will see. We will see in the coming months what happens. But talking about Harry Kane, at the moment, I'm told that Manchester City are still hoping to sign Harry Kane. To be honest, in July, the start of July, they were not so confident to say, okay, we can sign Grealish and Kane in the same window. They were thinking it was really complicated and difficult. But now they are still hoping to do it for Harry Kane. Their position is like, their strategy is like, okay, we want to wait. We're going to wait for Tottenham because they know from Manchester City that if they push and try to break with Tottenham, they have a problem with Daniel Levy, so it's not the best strategy. Now it's time to wait. If Daniel Levy in the coming few days will decide to put Harry Kane on the market and say, okay, we are prepared to sell him, Manchester City will be ready with the right bid and will go for Harry Kane. And in my opinion, they have huge chances to sign him. But it's up to Daniel Levy, not to Manchester City. That's why the situation is still open. And from Tottenham sources, they are still relaxed, to be honest, saying we think that Harry Kane at the end will stay here. So I'm really curious to see how this poker game will finish. But at the moment, Manchester City are still thinking of Harry Kane, and they still want Harry Kane as priority now.
Yeah. I'll just pick up a question there that somebody's asked because I'm not aware about this. Griezmann, anything going on with Griezmann? I've not heard anything. I don't know whether you have.
No. At the moment, no. I'm told that also after losing Messi, I think that Griezmann will be staying at Barcelona, or maybe they will try to reactivate the situation with Atletico Madrid and Saul, but it's not something for the Premier League. Also because the player priority has always been to stay in Spain. He's happy in Spain, so he wants to stay in Spain more than moving to Premier League clubs or Paris Saint-Germain this summer.
Also, just a quick one. Messi's left Barcelona. They've had financial problems. Is there any prospect of Barcelona still needing to sell players? Like, could they have to sell a De Jong or anyone like that? Or does Messi sort of mean that Barcelona are more stable now?
No. They need to sell players. They're still in complicated financial situation. I would say disaster situation with the salary cap in particular. It's about the salaries more than about the value of the players, about the salaries. So players like Miralem Pjanic, Samuel Umtiti, Felipe Coutinho, Bright White, many players are now available on the market. So I think in the coming days we will see some of these players leaving Barcelona because they still need to fix the situation. For Griezmann, it would be important for Barcelona to make money with Griezmann, with his salary, there is around 26 million euro per season, so it's a huge salary. But at the moment, as I say, the situation is still quiet. But I see many players leaving Barcelona in the coming days, to be honest. Also, if they lost Messi.
Yeah, and there was a bit of a rumor over the weekend. I think it might not have been accurate, saying that Inter Milan are in financial difficulties. Is that true or not? I mean, there was talk about them. Yeah, okay.
It's true. It's 100% true. Inter are in difficult situation. They lost Antonio Conte. He's, in my personal opinion, one of the best managers in the world. If Inter won the league last season, was thanks to Antonio Conte. They lost Achraf Hakimi, in my personal opinion, best right back in the world in this moment, incredible player. They lost Romelu Lukaku in August. Imagine that their plan was to keep best players, and then they lost Lukaku in August because Lukaku is going 100% to Chelsea. Is done. So they are in trouble by financial point of view, and they need to make money, and they are are not signing players. They signed Çalhanoğlu as free agent. They will spend part of Lukaku budget on other players, but they are in trouble by financial point of view. Yes, it's true.
Interesting. Just on players, just potentially with Italy, just talking about a couple of players that may leave Manchester United. Andreas Pereira, anything going on with him at the moment? Now the season's about to start. We don't think we'll see him much.
Yes, a lot of rumors about Fenerbahce. It's true that they have an interest in the player. They've been asking for the player, but it's not something advanced with the player himself, with his agent, or with Manchester United. So I will keep an eye again on Lazio for Pereira. It depends by Joaquin Correa situation, if Lazio will be selling Correa or not, if they are able to do a proposal to Manchester United for Pereira or not. But he's still one of the players appreciated by Lazio director Iglitare. He didn't have an amazing season with Lazio because of game time, but when he was playing, he was quite good here in Italy. So Lazio are still happy with the idea of trying again for Pereira, and we will see in the coming days what happens.
And another sort of story that's linked in, it'd be very easy for me to say if you heard anything on Jesse Lingard, but what we're hearing is that Arsenal want Maddison from Leicester, and then Leicester might go for Lingard. Anything around that you're hearing at the moment?
From Leicester, they always appreciated Lingard. They always considered him an interesting player. Also, before these fantastic 6 months he spent at West Ham on loan, so they've been always rating him as a top player. But this domino with Maddison to Arsenal, with Lingard to Leicester, is not an easy one. It's not an easy one because Leicester are not desperate to sell Maddison. I see a lot of reports on this one, and it's true that Arsenal are really interested in him, but it's not an easy domino. It's not an easy domino because Leicester are not desperate to sell the player. He has a long-term contract. They want more than £60 million for Maddison, and they're not accepting, as of now, players involved in a negotiation like Nelson or this kind of players. So Maddison to Arsenal is not so easy, and that's why also Lingard Leicester is still something like pending but not advanced yet, because it's a difficult scenario at the moment.
Yeah, and of course West Ham maybe still a possibility for Lingard as well. But no, I think you're right. I think Leicester always get good money, as we know with Harry Maguire. They got good money out of us for that one. Just a couple more questions. A lot of people asking in the chat. I know we've spoken about the midfield situation, but there's two players that has been mentioned a lot in the chat. Saul Niguez, if he's not going to go to Barcelona, is anything happening around him in the Premier League, first of all?
Yes, there are chances for him in Premier League if he's not going to Barcelona. But at the moment, there is still no official proposal. It's true that many clubs from Premier League, Chelsea, Manchester United, and Liverpool have been inquiring about this situation with Atletico Madrid, asking about the price tag of the player, 45 million euro. But no one made a bid yet. They are still waiting, maybe because they know that Atletico Madrid are prepared to sell him, and so maybe waiting later in the window to jump in the race is maybe the smart strategy in this moment with Saul. But with Barcelona, it's still something quiet, because as I said, with Griezmann now they lost Leo Messi, and so losing also Griezmann would mean, okay, we lose two of the best strikers in the world, and it could be a problem for Barcelona. It's a problem with Messi. Losing also Griezmann could be another problem.
So look, do you think Saul Niguez will leave then, one way or another, or is there a chance he stays?
I think yes. I think yes. My feeling is that at the end he will be leaving Atletico Madrid, also because they want to use this money to do something else, maybe with attacking players, maybe in other positions. So I think at the end of the window he has chances to leave. He's not desperate to leave because Saul is a good guy, good professional. So he loves Atletico Madrid, but the problem is he was not playing. He was not a starter last season. That's why Atletico Madrid are prepared to sell him. But they want around 45 million euro. This is the price tag, so we will see in the coming weeks.
It feels like, Fabrizio, the last few weeks of this window are going to get really busy. There seems to be quite a lot of deals that are just waiting to sort of domino, like you said. What about Ruben Neves? Is he? Is it just? I mean, I wasn't going to ask about Ruben Neves because I presume it's just quiet. But is anything you're hearing about that?
Still nothing. Still the same. He's one of the players in the list of Manchester United, but it's not something they reactivated in the last days, or they opened talks with Wolves or with his agent. So at the moment, the situation is still, he's a player we like. He's a player in the list, but it's not something happening imminent. So as you say, they will be busy till the 31 of August. It will be long. And so I think in the coming days, they will decide what they have to do in this position. But they're really happy with the players they have in their team, with Diogo Dalot, also with Donny van de Beek. He's doing so well in training and in preseason. So at the moment, the situation is really quiet because of this, also because they're happy with the players they have right now. So if they have some opportunity, they will go for it. If not, they are happy with this team. But I expect something else from Manchester United, to be honest.
Good to hear. And just finally then, goalkeeping situation. We bought a reserve goalkeeper in Tom Heaton, but we still have De Gea and Dean Henderson. I presume that's what we're going to have going into the season. Very, very quiet from this side. Anything you're hearing about our goalkeepers?
Same situation. As I always say, the salary of De Gea is a big problem, and all top clubs are looking for goalkeepers, for top goalkeepers now. So that's why the situation is still quiet for De Gea. And I still see, as you said, I see Manchester United going on with these 3 goalkeepers if a bid is not coming in the coming days.
Good. Well, look, Fabrizio said there. He says he thinks something might happen with United in the next few weeks. Let's see what it is. I'm not going to get him to predict that, but just a bit of fun, Fabrizio. The Premier League starts this season. No, we won't hold you to this, but who do you fancy to win the Premier League this season, based on what you've seen so far?
I want to wait for the market, because if Manchester City sign Harry Kane, it's something completely different. So I think it's fair to wait at the end of the market, because telling now maybe it's difficult. I would go with Manchester City now, but if they sign Harry Kane, I think will be really difficult to win the Premier League this season. I see Manchester United doing a great job, to be honest. I think in the market in general, they're doing something great. Also about the atmosphere around the team, signing players in July and not going with long negotiation till the end of August is something important to the team. It's something important to the manager, to the atmosphere, to the fans. So this summer, I feel something completely different after last one, spending 4 months on Jadon Sancho. They signed Sancho, they signed Varane, they've been really fast, really convincing. And this is something that will help the team also in the Premier League and in all competition this year, I'm sure.
I forgot to ask you that. Varane, medical Wednesday, we think that'll be the day that he'll get announced?
Yes, it's possible, but they're still really, how I can say, careful from his camp, because, he had to be in England last Monday, and then he will take his 3-4 days more than this. So because of this process, sometimes with COVID, it's becoming a bit longer, but they hope within Wednesday to complete everything and to have Rafa ready. But he's ready. He has the contract in his hands with his lawyer, so don't worry. He's a Manchester United player.
Fabrizio, it's always a pleasure to have you on. Thank you very much, and we'll see you again next week.
Thank you. Perfect. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye, Fabrizio. Thank you.
Ciao.
So let me just change the screen there, and I'll go through everything that we spoke about, because I know people will have caught this a little bit later. There we go. Full screen. Okay, so lots spoken about there from Fabrizio. Make sure you smash a like on the video and subscribe. The reason I asked him about Premier League prediction is I've dropped the link in the video description. You can check out my Premier League predictions videos talking about who's going to win the FA Cup, top scorer, Champions League, top 4, relegation, player of the year, all that jazz. Links in the video description. You can go and check that out. But let's summarize what we spoke about with Fabrizio there then. The key points for me really were that, despite I wonder how we're buying a midfielder, because we've had this chat quite a lot with Fabrizio over the summer, and other outlets have said it as well. United would need to sell a midfielder to buy a midfielder. I personally don't agree with that. I think we should buy a midfielder anyway, because Matic is coming towards the end. Pogba will be gone in a year, so why not bring a midfielder in now? But if we're not going to sell a midfielder, and it looks unlikely at the moment that Pogba or Matic is going to go, then maybe we don't get a midfielder. But then you look at the right-back situation, it's looking positive around Dalot, as Fabrizio said as well. He's impressive. He's doing well. And Atletico Madrid wants a lot of money for Trippier, so maybe we don't get a right-back. But Fabrizio did say at the end of the video there, end of the interview there, that it's looking good for United to do something towards the end of this transfer window. What that something's going to be, look, it could be Saúl Ñíguez, it could be Ruben Neves, it could be Camavinga. And to be honest with you, if it's one of those 3, would you argue with it? I mean, ideally going into this summer, I wanted an Ndidi or a Declan Rice, but they're ungettable. They're too expensive and they're not for sale. But there are midfielders out there, and I really, really do hope that we're going to do one. And I still do think Camavinga is a very, very good option for Manchester United. And we spoke about that with Fabrizio. Camavinga's looking at projects. He's looking at what his best project is. And if his best project is to stay at Rennes until next summer and then go somewhere, then he will do that. But remember what Rennes have said. They don't want him to do that. He either signs a new deal, which Fabrizio said he won't do, or they want to sell him now. And if we get towards the end of the transfer window, they might sell him for very cheap just to get rid of him, just to get some money. Because they did say at the weekends that they're not going to let a player go that has that's come through their youth system for nothing. So we'll see what happens on that. I think with Camavinga, he probably prefers PSG. But as Fabrizio has said before, he loves Manchester United. There's no reason not to go to United. Maybe he prefers PSG more, but the project he's going to get at PSG and the project he's going to get at United, very similar in many ways. Will he go straight into a PSG side? Well, certainly not in Champions League football. He won't. He might get to play a few games in the league because, to be honest with you, most of them against pub opposition, to be fair. But at Manchester United, would he get in the team? Well, look, it looks difficult with Pogba, Van der Beek, McFred and Matic. But as we know, Matic can't play every game. McTominay and Fred, with 75,000 fans in Old Trafford, I don't think if they perform like they did last year, Ollie's going to realise that they're not well received. So Camavinga, I think he could get game time at Manchester United. He's just got to back himself to make the move. Apparently his agents want him to come to England. I think Camavinga is a very good signing. I said it this morning because he's young, so he doesn't have to go straight into the team. But with Matic and Pogba going in a year, get him involved, start building him up. I think it makes a lot of sense to do it. And he's probably the cheapest out of Saul Niguez, Ruben Neves and Camavinga. He would be the cheapest out of that. Other news, very good update on Anthony Martial from Fabrizio there. There's nothing imminent. There's nothing going on with Inter Milan and Anthony Martial. He may well be on a list of 10 players that Inter Milan are looking at to replace Lukaku, but it doesn't sound very advanced and it doesn't sound very concrete at this moment. I think that's good news. I'm sure some people don't think it's good news, but ultimately, even if I wanted Martial to go, I'd be like, who are we going to replace him with in such a short period of time? Camavinga looks like a ball-winning midfielder. Do you think this is a good match for what we need for a CDM, says Carnine? What I saw at the weekend was Manchester United playing with one holding midfielder. Now, people can say Camavinga's not a holding midfielder. Ruben Neves isn't a holding midfielder. Saul Niguez isn't a holding midfielder. But neither's Fred or McTominay. The only one we've got is Matic, and he ain't playing 60 games. So if we don't buy anybody, either McTominay, Pogba, Van der Beek or Fred are going to do that one holding role. And that's not their position. So these people who say Camavinga's not a holding midfielder, Ruben Neves isn't a holding midfielder, neither's McTominay, neither's Fred, neither's Van der Beek, and neither's Pogba. So I don't know why people are getting their knickers in a twist about that. All right, they're not specialists, but we haven't got one anyway. So if you're going, I'd rather turn Ruben Neves into a holding midfielder than Fred or McTominay, to be honest with you. And I'd rather turn Camavinga into a holding midfielder than Fred or McTominay. So that's the thing for me, because Camavinga, and that's nothing against Fred and McTominay. I've had a year of Fred and McTominay, and if one of them could, the thing about Fred and McTominay is if they could hold the midfield on their own, they'd have done it last year. The reason we played them together because it was two people doing one person's job because they can't do it on their own. Camavinga can tackle and he can pass. As can Ruben Neves. Ruben Neves' tackling stats and long passing stats are better than McTominay and Fred. So look, one of those two players for me as the player to evolve into our long-term holding midfielder, I would definitely do that. Definitely. Camavinga can be anything he wants to be, says Advath. And I would agree with that. Yeah, definitely. So we spoke about Martial with that's looking good. Lingard to Leicester. Look, Leicester like Lingard, West Ham like Lingard. Definitely feels like it. Said it to Fabrizio and he acknowledged it as well. Definitely feels like this next 3 weeks of this transfer window could get mad busy. Whether we're involved in that, maybe not. You know, Fabrizio on the show has said it numerous times and he said it again today. Very, very praising Manchester United summer. You know, Sancho and Varane, all right, they might not be ready for the Leeds game, but they have been done earlier than we would normally do a deal, and we're sat here with 3 weeks to go sort of going, let's have a look. There are other clubs who are going into this 3 weeks: Liverpool, Tottenham, Man City to a certain extent, Arsenal, maybe even Chelsea a little bit. They're looking at this window going, what can we do? And look, Saul Niguez is going to leave Atletico Madrid. Not 100%, but we did ask Fabrizio. He said, I think he will leave Atletico Madrid. We don't know where he's going to go. That opens up money for Atletico Madrid to buy players. Inter have got money to spend. Arsenal want Maddison. If they get Maddison, does Lingard go to Leicester? I think that's a cracking move. I tell you what, I'll say this right here. I ain't worried. Renato Sanchez is a player that could move. But I'll say this right now. If Leicester sell Maddison for 60 million and get Lingard for 25, I think they've done a better deal. I think Lingard will deliver for Leicester as well as Maddison did. I'm not saying he's better than Maddison, but Leicester have got this knack of selling players for very good money and bringing players in. Like, look at the left-back situation at Leicester. Do they miss Chilwell massively? They've got Castagnier. They've got that, is it Justin lad? They've got the other lad, Thomas, can play there as well. I know he's injured. They've got Bertrand who's come in. Leicester are very good at selling players and then bringing people in. And I think Lingard at Leicester would be a very good move for Jesse. It's Europa League football. You're going to be challenged for the top 6. But of course, that depends on whether Arsenal can get Maddison. With proper rotation, Matic could be a part of the team a fair bit. 60 to 70 minute sub with Fred McTominay, says BOM. I think we need to buy a midfielder, mate. I really do think we need to buy a midfielder. So, yeah, that's Lingard. Pereira's looking like he's going to go on loan, which is a shame. It'd be nice to sell him. Pogba, I mean, on Pogba, Fabrizio has always said, in honesty, this looks very good that he'll stay this season. I've always said that. I haven't got the information Fabrizio's got. I just look at the situation. I said it in April. He'll run his contract down, and I think he will run his contract down. So it doesn't look like United are going to sell a midfielder, but I still think we should buy a midfielder because it's a long old season, and I just don't. I can see a problem with United. I can see a problem here. I think the problem is that, and look, Advath says it's a bit worrying that Romano said we're happy with the midfield, and this is exactly what I was going to say. I don't think they're a problem right now. I've got no problem with McTominay and Fred as squad players because I think they're important, but I think they are becoming a problem in relation to buying a midfielder because when you look at it, Matic, can he play? If he can play, is important. Van der Beek, we all want to be given a chance. Pogba is quality, of course. So you've got those three. Now, if you only had Fred, you'd buy another midfielder. If you only had McTominay, you'd buy another midfielder. But we've got Fred and McTominay. We've got McFred. And I think those two players are probably what's holding us back from buying a midfielder. Now, I'm not massively bothered about it now because I'd still buy a midfielder, but that's going to become a problem over the next 12 months because I don't see those two players as being good enough for where we need to go. I don't think you can start either of those players if you want to win a title. But can you put both on the bench? I think we're going to get to a point over the next 12 months where one of those players is going to have to go. Because at the moment, it feels like, I think most of us thought Matic, sell Matic and get a midfielder in. But the way Matic is performing, you're like, I don't know. Pogba doesn't look like he's going to go. No one wants Donny to go. So McTominay and Fred become the two that people probably now would sell one of them, but we're not going to do that. So if we don't get a midfielder, it's probably because of McTominay and Fred, because it would have been Matic going, it would have been Pogba going, and they will go in 12 months. Matic will basically retire and Pogba will leave, which is why I would still buy a midfielder. So let's see. I'm hopeful that we're going to do a business. And to be honest with you, in the scenario I've just explained there, I think Camavinga is the right one. Fred probably will be the one that goes, I think, because longer term, because McTominay's from the youth. That always makes you stay a few years than you should. And Fred's probably more valuable than McTominay in the world market because he plays for Brazil, and there'll be a lot of people that look at him and go, yeah, we'll give you 30 million, whereas I don't think we'll get that from McTominay. So, which is not a slight on McTominay. I think McTominay has sort of fell into that groove of maybe being the sort of John O'Shea or the Darren Fletcher sort of player, which you do need on the bench. So I can see it being Fred because he's got more value. He's also the older player as well, as many people would say. I think people would buy Fred, Ken, to be honest, but we'll see. I mean, that's not for now. What else? Keeper situation. Look, we're going to have 3 keepers, which is just weird. Harry Kane situation looks like he's going to go to Man City if it's going to happen. And very interesting that Fabrizio confirmed that Barcelona and Inter Milan do have financial difficulties. I don't know how that benefits United. I mean, I'd be all over De Jong, but I don't think Barcelona are going to look to move him on. But yeah, it'd be very interesting to see how it builds out. But look, thanks everyone for tuning in. Always good to get the Fabrizio Romano update. There's lots in there, as I said, but the key points are, looks like we'll buy somebody. Don't know who it's going to be. Hopefully it's going to be a midfielder. Martial's story is a load of nonsense at the moment. And we're still trying to shift some players. And also, the next 2.5 weeks, I think, are going to be very big in the transfer window. Maybe for United, but certainly everywhere else. There's going to be a domino effect. You can see it coming. I'd love Arsenal to get Maddison because I think Lingard to Leicester, that would be perfect. But West Ham could still have something to say about that. I just think Jesse, as we've all said, with Jesse, do we miss him at the moment? No. We miss him because we don't want him to have COVID and hopefully he's recovering well. But if I was Jesse, I'd be sat there thinking, I've almost missed that opportunity. I think if Lingard hadn't got COVID, maybe he would have played against Leeds. Maybe he can force his way into the plans. But by the time Jesse's back fit again, Sancho's here, Varane's here, everyone else has played games. It's going to be very hard for him to get into the team. And I think if I was Jesse, I'd be thinking, you know what? let's see if I can get that Leicester move. Let's see if I can get that West Ham move, because as a new signing, it's not going to matter that I've missed the first 2 games, because I'm going to go straight into the team that I go to. But let's see what happens. Thanks everyone for watching. Make sure you smash a like on the ball, smash a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe, bottom right hand corner. 8 o'clock show tonight as usual. I'm going to be on Twitch playing FIFA career mode in about 20 minutes, Goldbridge TV. So check me out on Twitter. But in the meantime, the link's in the video description. It's the big one. It's the Premier League prediction show. I've done it on That's Football, as I always do. I look back on it at the end of the season and see how many I've got right. Top 4. In fact, I've done top 8 this year. I've gone big. Relegation teams, Player of the Year, top scorer, Young Player of the Year, Carabao Cup winner, FA Cup winner, Champions League winner. 9 categories. Check it out on the video description. I'll speak to you all in a bit.